headline of the message this morning is, what does radical faith look like? What is radical faith? How do we build radical faith? And some of the enemies of radical faith, right? Now, what does the word radical mean? Radical means something that is extreme. Okay, just think, something extreme, something at the edge, at the limit, right? And coming back to faith, there is no such thing as nominal faith. Either you have faith in God or you go all in. You have radical faith. That means to have the full faith, a wholehearted faith, a faith that has no reservation, right? That means you go all in with God, right? You are willing to put your everything, your complete trust in God. And that is what radical faith is. And we want to look at this statement that made by Martin Luther, right? We know the Protestant movement was started by Martin Luther. So this is what he says. Faith is a living, bold trust in God's grace, so certain of God's favor that it would risk death 1,000 times trusting in it. Such confidence and knowledge of God's grace makes you happy, joyful, and bold in your relationship with God and all creatures. The Holy Spirit makes this happen through faith. So here Martin Luther is saying that if you have the right kind of faith, if you have the radical faith that I'm talking about this morning, you would be willing to risk death 1,000 times because you trust in God, right? 100%. That nothing is too difficult for you. Nothing is too much to give up, right? That whenever God speaks, you're willing to obey, right? And you know, beloved, faith and obedience goes hand in hand, right? It's pointless for you to have faith, but you don't want to obey. If you have faith and you don't obey, nothing is going to happen, right? Nothing is going to happen. So faith works hand in hand with obedience. And this morning we want to look at, if we have time, we will look at all four. Probably we're going to look at three. Radical faith, when God is speaking to you about something that you cannot see. Not an easy situation. When God is speaking to you about something that you have never seen before, right? It will take great faith, radical faith, right, to move forward and to receive that. When God is speaking to you about something that is unknown and is telling you to act, how do you react? Radical faith, when something is too late, in the natural, it looks like it's too late. Nothing can be done. It's gone, right? How do you react? And finally, when God is speaking to you about something that totally doesn't make sense, it's totally illogical, right? Humanly, you cannot figure it out, right? How do you react in a situation like that? Let's move on. Okay, in the first situation, radical faith in a situation where you cannot see. This is a story that we are all very familiar with, right? Hebrews chapter 11 verse 7 says, in the hall of fame, by faith, with confidence in God and His word, Noah, being warned by God about events not yet seen, in reverence prepared an ark for the salvation of his family. By this act of obedience, he condemned the world. He became an heir of the righteousness which comes by faith. And I'm going to read some verses in Genesis to give us some more background. It will not come up, so just listen to me. Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Verse 6, Genesis 6:6. I think one of the saddest verses in the Bible. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. Verse 7. So the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I have created from the face of the earth, from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. For I am sorry that I have made them. Verse 8. Thank God there is a but. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God. Wow. What an amazing testimony. We see here God coming to Noah and telling him, Noah, I regret making man. They are so evil. They are continually thinking of evil. They are walking against my purposes. No one is seeking after me. I'm going to destroy the whole earth. Everything, right? Including the animals, everything will be destroyed. But God found Noah to be different, right? What is amazing there is that Noah walked with God. While everybody else was walking away from God, while everybody else was walking in sin, walking in their own pleasures, in their own lust, Noah chose to walk with God. And beloved, that made all the difference. And that's the only reason why you see the but there. And God was able to restart creation through this one family because Noah chose to be different, right? And the other thing that's remarkable is that it says that in his generation. Now, if you reflect, what kind of a generation was Noah living in? It was the worst possible kind, right? That every man, woman, and child was living in sin. No one was going after God. And in that difficult situation and in that impossible culture where to worship God was against the norm, against a culture, Noah chose to stand with God, to walk with God.